Over the past few weeks, I've been finishing up a few things around here so that I could leave the country without any regrets. I beat Dark Souls, double plus. I ate a KFC Double Down, double plus. And I did something I haven't done in a while, but won't be available to me in Japan, so I figured I'd revisit it just for old time's sake. I started watching Adult Swim around the time it first came out. This is because watching anime on TV beat the hell out of downloading 96 megabyte AVI files off Kazaa. I continued watching through high school and college, but once I got to law school, I was too cheap to pay for cable, and with all the high quality streaming options that were coming up, there was really no need to stick to TV. Even after law school, I just sort of forgot about Adult Swim, even though I had cable back. A lot of this had to do with blindness, but that isn't all there was to it. First of all, I was really trying to learn Japanese, so watching dubbed anime didn't appeal to me as much anymore. Streaming anime continued to get better and better, so it's just easier to watch anime on demand than to set aside my Saturday nights just for anime. There was also the issue of Adult Swim scaling back its anime lineup. I'm actually too lazy to research whether this was true or not, but at least that's what I perceived the last time I was watching Adult Swim on a regular basis. And what did they replace it with? Gimmicky Adult Swim original crap. So I didn't feel like watching Adult Swim for about 7 years, until a few weeks ago I found out that, perhaps to the surprise of absolutely no one, Adult Swim picked up Attack on Titan. It's currently preceded by Season 4 of The Boondocks, and it's followed by Bleach and Space Dandy. These are the 4 shows I've been watching for the past several weeks. Now everyone knows I'm a huge fan of The Boondocks. The 4th season's being done without original creator Aaron McGruder, and The Boondocks without Aaron McGruder is like the proverbial bowling ball without a liquid center. The show doesn't quite have the same soul it once did. Looking purely at the quality of writing, it really isn't that much of a drop-off. I'd say the biggest problem with the show nowadays is that most of the episodes this season have been focused on Granddad, aka Robert Freeman, who is probably the most boring character in the entire cast. The show overall is still fun to watch, at the very least because it's so politically incorrect, but it's just not the same show it once was, especially during the triple plus second season. Current grade for season 4, single plus. Now on to Attack on Titan. I've already reviewed the show, double plus, so here I'm just going to review the dubbing. The voices themselves are pretty good, I just have 2 criticisms of the writing and or directing behind them. First of all, they pronounce some of the names a little too Japanese. Yeah, I know I'm just continuing the long-standing debate about how you should dub Japanese names. The thing is, in Attack on Titan, most of the names are not Japanese in the first place. It's okay to call it Wal Maria, you don't have to defer to the Japanese pronunciation and call it Wal Maria. You don't have to pronounce Reiner's name Raina. This reminds me of when I watched the first 5 seconds of the Gurren Lagann dub, and they called Simon Shimon. If you want to watch non-Japanese names pronounced in Japanese, don't watch the dub. My other criticism of the Attack on Titan dub right now is that many times it's chosen to go with poetic language over natural language. Now for all I know, the Japanese version is like this too. It's just that when you're unfamiliar with the nuances of a language, you can't really tell what sounds natural and what doesn't. In the English dub, however, I can tell very easily that some of the lines were written to be great on paper, but they're not the kind of lines that would ever come up in the natural course of conversation in a million years. All things considered though, this is a pretty minor issue, and aside from the poetry issue and the pronunciation issue, the Attack on Titan dub is perfectly fine. Next up is Bleach. Adult Swim has been bringing over filler episodes, but the start of Attack on Titan just so happened to coincide with the start of a legitimate Bleach arc, this one being the Fullbring arc. The other good news is that not only are these not filler episodes, but there's no filler inserted in the middle of episodes to drag them out as long as possible. The first episode in this arc is a surprisingly strong hook. There's a little bit of a time skip, Ichigo lost his powers, everyone's doing something a little bit differently than they had been doing a few months prior. It's a pretty interesting start. It's also a nice change in that, in the past arcs, Ichigo got so overpowered that you just wanted to throw those power levels out the window and start over from scratch. Well, that's exactly what this arc does. Now, I've read the manga, I know exactly where this arc is going, but for the time being, just based on these few episodes I've seen of this arc, I'll give it a current grade of a single plus. The final show I'm going to review today is Space Dandy, which I've only seen on Adult Swim. Space Dandy's about a guy with triple plus hair and triple plus taste in women. It all goes downhill from there. He and his crew, which consists of a cat and a robot with feelings, attempt to hunt aliens for money. Each episode is a little sci-fi, a little comedy, and they try to pack in a heartfelt moment or two. The plot is almost entirely episodic, so you could watch the entire show completely out of order, probably wouldn't make a difference, and that really works to the show's advantage. I have no desire to watch every single episode, and I really have a hard time seeing myself going out of my way to watch this show. However, it does fit the Adult Swim lineup pretty well. It's a fun little show to watch at 12:30 on a Saturday night when you're bored and have nothing better to do. Overall, the best I can say about the show is that some stretches are kind of fun, the worst I can say is that some stretches are kind of dull. Current grade, single tilde. And what the heck, I'll just throw in a quick review of Naruto Shippuden, which airs after Space Dandy. The early parts of Shippuden were always good, and when you compare it to the crap coming out in the manga nowadays, it just seems amazing. However, in the several weeks I have been watching Adult Swim this time around, I've only stayed up for one full episode of Shippuden, and I hate to admit why. It's because of the picture quality. Maybe it's not in HD or something, but it just looks pretty bad, and while this isn't something that would have fazed me in the past, for some reason it does now, and I hate what I've become because I've become what I hate. Current grade, taking into account the video quality, single tilde. That's all for now. Next time you see me, I'll be in Japan.